Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Shivangi Mishra. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 16th of December. India's foreign minister evokes snake in the backyard analogy to slam Pakistan. Pakistan's foreign minister says discounted Russian oil not a reality. And Sri Lanka's economy shrinks 11.8% in second worst quarterly performance. And now for all the details. India on Friday paid tribute to the fallen soldiers of the 1971 India-Pakistan War as it marked the 51st anniversary of India's decisive military victory, which led to the creation of Bangladesh as a separate nation. In the backdrop of recent India-China border face-off in Tawang, a top army commander said Indian forces firmly contested Chinese troops.
India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh on Friday, along with Chief of Defence Staff General Anil Chauhan and Tri-Services Chiefs, paid tributes to fallen soldiers of the 1971 India-Pakistan War at the National War Memorial in New Delhi. India commemorates December 16 as Vijay Divas or Victory Day to mark India's decisive military victory over Pakistan, which led to the creation of Bangladesh as a separate nation. Celebrations and wreath-laying ceremony was also witnessed at various bases of Indian armed forces across the country. In the aftermath of the recent India-China border clash in Tawang, Commander of Indian Army's Eastern Command said Chinese troops transgressed in the area where there is a difference in the area of perception, which was contested very firmly. He added that a flag meeting at the delegation level helped in further resolving the matter.
And, there are 8 recognized disputed areas where the lines of the differing perceptions are acknowledged by both sides. So in one of those areas where there is a differing perception of the LAC, the PLA patrol had transgressed and which was contested very firmly and resolutely by our forces on ground.
Meanwhile, Bangladesh High Commission on the occasion also held a flag hosting ceremony at their office in Kolkata. What was East Pakistan at the end of British rule in 1947 broke away into independent Bangladesh in 1971 after the war between Bangladeshi nationalists backed by India against the Pakistani forces.
India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar highlighted that terrorism epicenter remains active as he spoke at the UNSC briefing on counter-terrorism on Thursday. In a wheeled attack on China and Pakistan, Jaishankar said evidence-backed proposals to blacklist terrorists are put on hold without adequate reason. He also lambasted Pakistani Minister Hina Rabbani Kar for allegations against India, saying, if you have snakes in your backyard, they will bite you as well.
India's Foreign Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar on Thursday highlighted that terrorism epicenter remains active and raised concerns about how evidence-backed proposals to blacklist terrorists are put on hold without adequate reason and apparent indication towards China and Pakistan. Jaishankar, who was speaking at UNSC briefing on global counter-terrorism approach, said that the world may no longer be willing to buy the justifications and cover-ups of terror financing and state culpability, emphasizing that world cannot let another 9/11 of New York or 26/11 of Mumbai happen. He said in the last 2 decades, terrorism has been significantly countered and its justification delegitimized, but this remains work in progress. Later, in a media stakeout, commenting on remarks by Pakistan's junior foreign minister Hina Rabbani Kar, where she said no country had used terrorism better than India, Jaishankar in response said that the world knows Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism. Evoking Hillary Clinton's advice to Kar, he said, if you have snakes in your backyard, you can't expect them to bite only your neighbors. A dig aimed at Pakistan for hosting terrorists.
I read the reports on what Minister Hina Rabbani Kar said. And, I was reminded more than a decade ago, if my memory serves me right, Hillary Clinton was visiting Pakistan, Islamabad. And Hina Rabani Khan was a minister at that time. And I think standing next to her, Hillary Clinton actually said that if you have, I'm giving you the sense, it's not an exact quote, that if you have snakes in your backyard, you can't expect them to bite only your neighbors. Eventually, they will bite the people who keep them in the backyard.
Meanwhile, Jaishankar also said that India looks forward to being back in the UN Security Council as he declared the country's candidature as non-permanent member for the 2028 to 29 term. India is currently presiding UNSC for the month of December, the 8th time that India is sitting at the powerful horseshoe table.
In news from Pakistan, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto-Zardari on Thursday said his country is seeking to address the energy shortfalls and difficulties it is facing as it dismissed the concept of discounted Russian oil. Moscow has said it will not sell to countries that comply with the price cap imposed by the G7 grouping and the European Union.
Pakistan is seeking to address the energy shortfalls and difficulties we are facing, Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto-Zardari said on Thursday at the United Nations, but he dismissed the concept of discounted Russian oil after Islamabad announced a deal with Moscow. When asked about a $60 per barrel cap imposed by the group of 7 states and the European Union on Russian seaborne oil over the Russia-Ukraine war, Bilawal said, up until now, we actually haven't received nor are we getting any oil from Russia.
And as far as discounted rates, no one is giving discounted rates for all the oil these days. That's just not a reality. It is true that we're actively pursuing ways and means to address the energy shortfalls and difficulties we're facing in Pakistan.
Pakistan has historically imported most of its oil and gas products from the Middle East. The places where we used to buy our resources from, now the Europeans and the Western world are crowding out that market for us. It's an incredibly difficult situation, Bilawal said. Pakistan's Finance Minister Ishaq Dar said on Tuesday that he had agreed with US officials when they told him in October that Pakistan should not purchase Russian oil above the price cap. Moscow has said it will not sell the countries that comply with the price cap.
Moving on. At least one person was killed and more than a dozen injured after fresh clashes erupted between the border forces of Afghanistan and Pakistan near the Chaman-Spin-Boldak border crossing on Thursday. This came just few days after at least 8 Pakistani civilians and 1 Afghan soldier were killed in cross-border shelling and gunfire at the same border crossing on Sunday.
Clashes again erupted between the border forces of Afghanistan and Pakistan near the key Chaman-Spin-Boldak border crossing on Thursday, resulting in 1 death and more than a dozen injuries. Cross-border shelling and gunfire had killed 8 Pakistani civilians and 1 Afghan soldier on Sunday near the same crossing. Thursday's fighting started when Pakistani forces, repairing a portion of the border fence damaged during Sunday's clashes, came under attack from the Afghan side of the frontier, Pakistani officials said. Both sides blamed each other for instigating Sunday's clashes. An emergency was declared in the local hospital in Chaman and extra staff were called in as tensions heightened across the border. Afghanistan and Pakistan have for decades had territorial disputes at their border, and the Chaman crossing was closed for several days after similar clashes last month. Chaman-Spin-Boldak is a key trade route through which large quantities of critical goods move in and out of landlocked Afghanistan.
Sri Lanka's economy shrank 11.8% in the July-September quarter from a year ago, the second worst quarterly contraction ever for the country, going through a severe financial crisis. The country's Statistics Bureau in a statement said the data decrease in the demand of essential and non-essential goods and services due to the reduction of the real income of the people has directed the economy towards this decline.
The Census and Statistics Department of Sri Lanka on Thursday said that the country's economy shrank by 11.8% in the July-September quarter from a year ago, the second worst quarterly contraction ever for the country, going through a severe financial crisis. In a statement, the Statistics Department said that the agriculture sector shrank 8.7% in the third quarter and industries 21.2%. While services dropped 2.6% from a year earlier. It added that a decrease in the demand of essential and non-essential goods and services due to the reduction of the real income of the people has directed the economy towards this decline. Sri Lanka's central bank estimates the economy will contract by about 8% in 2022. The economy had contracted 8.4% year-on-year in the second quarter, one of the worst performances in the island of 22 million people. It contracted 1.6% year-on-year in the first quarter. Foreign Minister Ali Sabri on Wednesday said that the island nation is expecting as much as $5 billion in loans next year from multilateral agencies besides the IMF deal, while the government is aiming to raise up to $3 billion via restructuring of states' assets. Moreover, President Ranil Wickremesinghe has pledged to restore the economy but has warned tough reforms are needed.
In news from Nepal, the Indian Embassy in Kathmandu on Thursday organized an India-Nepal agri-meet-cum-curtain raiser for the International Year of Millets 2023. The resolution to celebrate the International Year of Millets 2023 was adopted in the UN in 2021 at the initiative of India with the support of 72 other countries. India is the world's largest producer of millets, producing 17 million tons annually, which is about 20% of the global production. India and Nepal are also significant trading partners for a variety of agricultural products, including millets. Officials highlighted the importance as well as potential of millets in ensuring food security and elaborated on capacity building efforts. The Indian Embassy said it will continue to promote India-Nepal cooperation in agriculture through various activities. Zoo staff at the Safari Park in Pakistan's Karachi city this week celebrated the birthday of two female elephants, inviting school children and government officials to mark the occasion by cutting a cake and sing them a birthday song. According to zoo staff, Malika and Sonia are two of the 4 elephants that were brought to Karachi from Tanzania about 14 years ago.
A zoo in Pakistan's Karachi on Thursday celebrated the birthdays of two of its most respected residents, elephant Sonia and Malika. Zoo staff decorated the elephants' compounds to celebrate their birthdays and invited an entourage of school children and government officials to sing them the 16-year-old Sonia and 18-year-old Malika happy birthday. A large pink and white cake was served up in the elephants' honor, and the celebration was held at their enclosure in Karachi's Safari Park.
मलाइका है और सोनिया दो हाथी, एक की उम्र 18 साल और एक की उम्र 16 साल। तो अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह आप ये देख सकते हैं कि जो हमारा सफारी पार्क है इसमें ये बिल्कुल सेहतमंद है और 16 साल और 18 साल इनको हो गए। इनकी सेहत का पूरा ख्याल रखा जाता था Karachi Zoological and Botanical Garden में।
School children at the event said they were delighted to wish the elephants a very happy birthday.
एलिफेंट की सालगिरह में आए हम, बहुत मज़ा आया और कई दफ़ा हम छुड़िया के घर पे भी आए, मगर पहली बार हम एलिफेंट की सालगिरह पे हैं। मुझे बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है।
According to zoo staff, Malika and Sonia are two of the 4 elephants that were brought to Karachi from Tanzania about 14 years ago.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on southasianewsline.com. You can also visit us on facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter at SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.